It's going to be the warmest day we've had all year. It should be a high around 70 or 72 degrees today. So great day to be outside. Not very windy, so we're going to try to get some stuff done. And we're going to work here along the driveway. We're going to cut out all of these trees in this old fence line right here. We're going to take out all the ones that I don't want to keep. There's going to be probably 8 trees or so along here that stay, and the rest of these are coming out. So let's go ahead, get this done. All right, I went through and I cut down most of the trees that are on this side of the fence. I'm gonna grab the tractor, we're gonna pull them out a little ways so that I can cut the stumps off, and we'll get all this cut up. And then I may try to remove the fence and then try to cut down the trees on the other side. Uh-oh, I'm out. So I just ran out of my Tordon RTU. This is what I use as stump killer. Luckily, Rebecca is in town. She just left a little bit ago when we started to go grocery shopping. So I texted her, asked her if she could stop by the farm store and buy a couple bottles. So I'm not gonna cut off any more stumps until I have this, because it works best on a fresh cut. You really wanna apply this within like 15 minutes of cutting off the stump. All right, I think I've got enough of this area cleaned up that I can get in here with the tractor and the grapple and just start trying to use it to pull the fence and brush out of here and kind of clean this up a little bit more before we cut down the rest of the trees. Probably gonna have to take out this fence in sections. So it's grown into this tree right here, and I believe it's grown into that tree right here. So I've got my cutters. We'll just go ahead and try to free it up. All right, I've got the old fencing about as free as I can get it. So we'll go ahead and start tearing on it with the grapple. Oh, I got a delivery. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, we got the fence pulled out all the way down to this last tree, and we're gonna keep that tree. And then back this direction, there's another 40 feet or so of fence here and a bunch of little trees. So I'm just gonna grab the tree puller back out. Here, let me show you this real quick. So the tree trimmers came through for the power lines. See, they've marked places that needed to be cut with pink tape, and you can see right here in this fence line they cut this tree off and they cut this tree off, which we're going to go ahead and just take them out the rest of the way. But this is all part of the area that has to stay clear because we have the power lines that go right through here. I don't even know if they show up on camera, but there's a set of power lines, so we can't have any trees through this area anyway. Yeah, that's probably pushing the limits of the small tractor. Man, I was so close too. It moved around a ton. All right, I think we're to the point where we can go ahead and start cutting down the rest of the trees along here that we're not gonna keep. So I wanna start up here at the top with this tree right here. And there's a couple along here, and then we're gonna just work our way down the hill and get the rest of them. So once we get all these down, the only thing left is cleanup, and this whole section's done. So this tree right here, of course, is leaning the wrong way. I probably got ahead of myself. I probably shouldn't have cut a notch in it yet, but I've got this rope here. Rebecca's dad gave me this. I think it was her grandfather's that they used to use because he used to be a tree cutter, and they used to use it for pulling on trees. So that's what I'm gonna do with it. Tie onto it and then get some tension on it so it won't go the wrong direction. All right, I think we got some pretty good tension. When I wiggle it, the tree does move a little bit, so it's pulling on it. Rebecca came outside. I think she's worried about me. She's gonna watch. It's rocking on there, I can tell. All right, let's go pull it down. All right, we're gonna have to do the same thing with the rope and the tractor. Both of these limbs are leaning the wrong way. So here's a sideways perspective. You can see these two limbs are coming out this direction. Power lines are right here, and that's the way it's gonna wanna naturally fall. So the only way to make it fall the way you want to is we really just have to kind of force it that way. Well, I cut the notch for it to go that way, and it went like that way. So it went like, I don't know, 25 degrees off from what I was planning, but it still didn't go toward the power line. That's good. Well, this tree right here is definitely the worst. It hangs out there the farthest. It probably hangs out at least 4 or 5 feet to the side. So I'm gonna take this one a little bit slower. I'm not gonna cut the back cut in as far. I'm gonna leave a bigger hinge and then try to pull it over with the tractor. All right, I got out the steel 391. This has got a 25-inch bar on it, and I think it'll help on these last couple trees just having a bigger chainsaw. Well, even though it ended up falling when I wasn't expecting it, I was just getting ready to just cut it a little bit more right when it started to break. And then of course I didn't have, I didn't realize I had a stump behind me. I ended up tripping on that stump. All right, I saved the biggest tree for last. This is a black cherry tree, and it was the biggest tree in this fence row. I really like the amount of shade that it put out, so I considered keeping it. But I think most of you have, or a lot of people in the comments have convinced me otherwise, just because wilted leaves off of this tree can be poisonous and it could end up killing your livestock. So I don't want to take that chance. So I'm going to go ahead and take this tree down. So I'm looking at this tree. I'm trying to decide how I want to cut it. I could try to just cut the whole thing and hopefully it'll fall that way, especially with this limb helping give it a lot of extra weight that direction. But the problem is I don't think that limb is truly attached real well. I think it's a separate tree. As you look at it, you can see a definite crease where it is. So I'm afraid if I tried cutting through this one may just break off by itself anyway. So I really feel like this is two separate trees, and I probably should cut it down as such and try to treat it that way. All right, so now that I got this limb cut off, I'd really like to cut this one off down here. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can cut off this piece right here. I'm hoping if I just cut through it and then maybe hit it with the tractor, I can just knock that chunk out. And then I'll just have the big tree left, and it'll be down at the height where I can work on it easy. Oh yeah, I'm through. I'm definitely through. Look at that. Woo! All right, I am glad that is done. It's a little nerve-wracking. It's not like you do this every day, you know? So I'm glad it all went good. All right, we got all the trees cut down and on the ground, and I am glad that we got that all done today. That is probably the most stressful part of that is cutting trees down, especially kind of the awkward grown trees, the bigger trees, getting them cut down and making sure you don't get hurt or damage something. And everything went, in that aspect, everything went well. Nobody got hurt, nothing got damaged. Now there was a couple trees that didn't fall real good today. I had one that just kind of snapped and went about 30 degrees off from where I really wanted it to, still in the same direction, so that really wasn't that bad. I had another one that completely fell the wrong direction, and it was two trees that were grown together, and I had notched this one, but I hadn't notched it all the way over to that other tree, so it wouldn't fall. So then I just got in there with a chainsaw and I just went ahead and I kind of plunge cutted it just to make sure I had it all the way through to the other tree, and as soon as I did, it just snapped and went 90 degrees. Totally unexpected direction, but luckily it was a small tree. It was only like a 6-inch diameter tree, so I mean that was a good thing. At least it was just like a smaller tree, but it still ended up catching me by surprise. And then I had another one where I had notched it, I had put wedges in it, and it was like ready to fall, and it just wouldn't fall. And I thought I'll go around to the other side and I'll just take a little bit more off the back cut. And as soon as I went around that side to do that, the tree broke and fell over, caught me by surprise. I stepped backwards and tripped on a tree stump, fell backwards on my butt. So I got caught by surprise, I think twice. That tree fell exactly where I wanted it to. That was fine. It was just that there's just too much stuff around here when you're cutting these trees down. Like everything's a tripping hazard. There's vines in the ground, there's all the thorns, and of course there's all the trees and brush, and it just is, it's hard to move around with all this stuff, that's for sure. And that goes to where it helps to kind of clean as you go, like cut one tree down at a time and clean it up. But I really just wanted to get them all on the ground and get that part over with. So when I got down to the last couple trees, I ended up getting out the bigger chainsaw, and as soon as I started using it, I could tell that the chain was dull. It needed to be sharpened. I was able to get the trees cut down, but it definitely cut a lot slower. It's throwing a lot of powder, a lot of sawdust, not shavings. And I think I need to go ahead and take the chainsaw. I'll probably just take both chainsaws in. I'm going to touch up both of those chains, get them sharpened up, and then I'll end up coming back out here. I'll start cutting this up, and I think that bigger cherry tree, I think the main part of that I can save as a saw log. I can take it to a sawmill and have it cut into cherry boards, right? I mean, that's a really, it's hard to find a cherry tree that's straight enough and big enough to make into lumber. So I think I'm going to try to do that with that log. Now, we'll have to make sure we cut it up high enough that we don't have any fencing in it. So we'll have to probably cut off another foot or so off of the base of that. But I still think I can get like an 8-foot log when it's done and over with. And I'm not sure if any of these other branches are quite big enough for lumber or not, but we're going to have plenty of firewood in this when we're done. And I'm probably still going to chip up all these branches, which is going to take me a while. But I think I'm going to save that for another day. It's like 6 o'clock at night now in the evening. So I've been out here for like 8 hours and I'm done for today. I've got enough. I've done enough today. I think I'm ready to relax. So I think that's it, guys. I hope you guys have a great day and I'll see you in the next one.